Good morning. You are very welcome to our digital strategy series from Newry BID, Newry Business Improvement District, looking at how to increase your online visibility for free with Google and Newry BID. This is the beginner's guide, and this is taking you through a clean or fresh version of what many of you would have sat in on the actual webinar, but there was too much chat going on in the middle of it, so decided just to record a clean copy that you can have a look at it and see if you can try and improve your stats on Google. And it doesn't matter if you've never even heard of Google My Business before, or you don't know how you can use it to the best of your ability for your own business. We're going to take you right through that now. My name is Deborah Loughran and I am from King Communication, and I am working alongside Eamon and Nicole and the team in BID to try and deliver this digital strategy series, particularly looking at Google My Business. So quite recently, Newry BID carried out a survey which found that 94% of people have access to a smartphone. Now, they were probably not being told anything new there, but what does that mean for your business? It means that in order to reach these potential customers, they should be able to find you online. You can be found online without it costing you anything, and we're going to talk you through how to actually do that. So if you imagine somebody coming into Newry, perhaps for the first time, and utilising their phone to try and find what they are looking for in terms of businesses or services, well, you want to be up there and you want to be available and making sure that your presence is noticed from somebody who doesn't know your business. So the first thing you need to do is search online for your business to see what it says. So before we had started this, I'd said maybe that you should have your mobile phone with you so you can actually, work through this and make this a working webinar. If you don't, pause it now and go and get your phone. So what you actually need to do is you need to Google your own business. You should do this in private mode, because otherwise it'll pick up cookies from previous times where you've searched for your own business. So your phone and your computer, etc., store quite a lot of information about previous searches and previous things that you have looked for. So they'll automatically assume that you like your own business if you've searched for it before. So they might bring it up to the top, whereas naturally to the top of the search, whereas naturally it may not sit there. So what we need to do is we need to go into private mode so that you can see what somebody who doesn't know your business actually sees when they Google your business. So we need to go what's called incognito. This mode doesn't record your cookies and gives you a fresh look at what potential customers would see if they search for your business. So how do you do this? So on your phone or your tablet, download the Google Chrome app if you don't have it, or open Google Chrome on your desktop. So again, you might need to pause and stop and do that and make sure that you have Google Chrome. So to the right of the address bar, tap More or the three dots. So you'll see up in the top right-hand corner of your screen, there's either the word More or three dots. Once you click on that, click on New Incognito tab and a new window appears. So if you look here, I'm just taking you through it. So once you've tapped those three dots, tap for New Incognito window. So in the top left then, look for a little incognito icon, and the screen should be slightly darker in color. So now do a search for your business name and see what happens. So the question I ask now is, are you happy with what comes up? So when you search for your business name, and naturally when you search for your business name, unless it's you're basically a shoe shop called Shoe Shop, the chances are that your business name will come up first or in the first one or two. But turn that around now and search for, if you are a shoe shop or if you are a cafe, search for Cafe Newry or Shoe Shop Newry, or search for Solicitors Newry and see what comes up, because that might tell a different tale. And that will show you how, if somebody doesn't know your business and they come into Newry and they search for your service offering, that will show you where you generally will appear in the rankings for Google. So a lot of people get a little bit of a shock in that, because they've maybe always just searched for their business on their own phone, which has lots of cookies on it, lots of data stored from previous times, and it gives them a false sense of where they actually sit in the rankings. So when you actually, if you go back in again now and search for your own business name, and for the purpose of this piece of work, we're interested in the panel at the right-hand side. So everybody, every business should have one of these panels that I have circled here in red. And to make it really easy, I searched for a well-known Newry business, the Canal Court. So as you can see here, this is your Google My Business profile. And you can see immediately why it is so important. So at the time whenever I had taken this screenshot here, there were more than 1,800 Google reviews listed. And that's extremely important for a business, especially if you don't know that they're there, especially if you haven't claimed your profile and people are ranking you online and you have no idea that they are actually doing this. Keep moving my icon around a little bit here so you can actually see where the Google reviews are. So some people think, oh, well, I'm not going to engage with that and I'm not going to get involved in that and think that it doesn't happen. Google automatically will generate a profile for most businesses. So even if you don't claim it or if you haven't claimed it, the chances are there's still one there and people have the ability to rank or leave a review for your business, and you may not know this or may not have any control over it. So your business listing, what does your profile look like? Are you happy with it? Does it reflect your business? Did you even know it existed? A lot of people will say, you know, I didn't actually realize that Google generated this profile for me. And that's fine, because regardless of your answer to the questions above, you know, don't panic, because there is an easy fix. So before I go into the how-to, I'd just like to quickly give you an overview of how Google views your business and what is important to it in where you feature in the organic rankings. So organic rankings are anything that you do that isn't paid for. So if you think of, you know, people will talk about Google ads and Facebook ads and social ads and all these things that they pay for. But anything that you do that is naturally occurring in terms of people sharing or searching or looking for your business online, without you influencing that or without you having an ad to support that, is called organic. So where Google puts you in terms of the organic ranking, so you'll always see at the top of the page, more than likely for most searches, you'll see a couple of ads at the top, which is where people have, or businesses have paid to be profiled at the top of that page, so that their business is the very first thing that you see if you search for Cafe Newry or if you search for Solicitors Newry. And ads have different appeal to people. Some people like them because they know that they're specifically what they're looking for in that business area, and some people really dislike ads and they'll automatically scroll past the ads and look for the first business in the organic ranking. So Google, in terms of where Google lists you in their organic rankings, Google takes account of three key factors. One is proximity, one is relevance, and one is prominence. So proximity, this is the #1 priority for Google. So how close are you to the person who is searching? The more accurate the information about the location, the more likely Google is to list you in the search rankings. So if the person searching doesn't specify a location, Google will calculate a distance based on what they know about their location. So sometimes people will have their location settings off and Google won't be able to tell that they're in Newry. But if they search for Cafe Newry, they'll make the assumption that they are in Newry. But you know, if you think of yourself, if you are a clothes shop or a hairdresser's or a cafe on a busy street, and there may be 2 or 3 other businesses in that line, in the same line of work as you on that same street, if a person is standing equal distance to you and one of your competitors, the chances are that Google will rank you the same in terms of proximity, so relevance and prominence may come into it as well. So relevance is how well does your listing match what the person is actually searching for? And this is where people sometimes try to get very fancy and it maybe doesn't do them any favors at all. So if you're a hairdresser, say you're a hairdresser in your business information, always put yourself in the shoes of the customer or the person coming in. What are they actually looking for? Because I always say, if you say, for example, you're a coiffeuring emporium, the likelihood of Google matching you with somebody who is searching for somewhere to get their haircut is quite unlikely. So you need to help Google understand what you do. so they can match your profile to relevant searches. And this is, as I say, where sometimes people try to get too fancy and they don't go just back to the basic words. If I'm looking for something to eat near me, you know, I may put in something to eat near me. I may put in restaurant near me, cafe near me. And it's just trying to get into the head of the consumer to find out what they actually would be searching for to try and find your business. Prominence then is a third factor, and this relates to how popular your business is. So the general view is that if a business is considered famous offline, the likelihood is that it's famous, for want of a better word, online. So this refers to how popular a business is, you know, and that can be evident through the number of searches for a specific business. Prominence can also be based on information like links and articles and news that Google has access to about a business from across the web. So that's why people would often talk about having, you know, fresh, up-to-date content on your website, having links to other websites, having other people talking about you is very, very important. And Google reviews and scores can contribute to where you feature in the rankings. So if you go back to, do you remember our earlier example of the Canal Court Hotel with its 1,800 reviews, which gave it, you know, a really high Google score of 4.4 out of 5. This is going to contribute to a higher ranking for a hotel which is maybe closer by, which has maybe only 100 reviews and a score of 2. So put yourself in that. If you think of that example, if you have one hotel here, and you have the person right in the middle, and they search for hotel near me, the one with more prominence, which is the more Google reviews and the higher ranking, is going to more Google reviews and a higher score in terms of those reviews is going to rank higher in Google's prominence than the one that has the lower score and less reviews. So that can be useful to know prominence in terms of businesses that are located in perhaps a busy city centre, or in somewhere like Newry city centre, where you're trying to compete with a number of other people doing the same service offering in the same area. So now you've viewed your profile and you can see what shape it's in and you know what Google is looking for. What do you need to do to change it or update it? Well, the first thing we need to do is check and see if you have claimed your profile, because just because it is there doesn't mean that you or somebody in your business has actually claimed it. So when you search for your business on Google and the business panel comes up, what you need to do is look for the Own This Business link. So here on my screen, you'll see it down at the bottom of the page. It says Suggest and Edit or Own This Business. So what you need to do is you need to click on Own This Business and see what it says. Now, if you get this message, which is this listing has already been claimed, it means that the profile has already been claimed. And you know, the good thing about it is you'll see the first couple of letters of the email address that has claimed it. I always say to people, this is bear in mind that that's a Gmail account. It may not be your regular account, or it could be a member of your team's email address. You know, sometimes people maybe bring in a student to do some of this sort of stuff, and that person will set it up to their own Gmail account, and the company will never have taken those details down. So just, you know, you might need to do a little bit of thinking around who that email address could actually belong to. But if you don't recognize this email address, you can request access. So you can click on this button to request access. What happens then is you'll then be directed to a simple form which you need to fill in. This will be shared with the email address that currently has access to the profile. So what should happen there is the person who owns that Gmail account should get an email from Google saying that someone else is looking to manage this business. Can you please give them access? Now, if you don't get any response to this, contact Newry BID and we can follow it up for you and see if we can get access to that. But very often if somebody has claimed your profile, it will be a member of your team, or maybe somebody who has left your team, or a student or somebody, and it should be fairly easy to get in contact with them. So if you click through and the profile has not been claimed, so that's what happens if the profile has been claimed and it hasn't been you that has claimed it. If you click through the profile has not been claimed, you should see a window similar to this. So I just looked for a business in Newry that hadn't been claimed and the railway bar come up. So if you hit the button Manage Now, it will allow you to set up a Google My Business account and register that as your profile. But again, as I said earlier, make sure that you have a Gmail account in place to set this up. So if I was the owner of the railway bar or the manager, I would click Manage Now and it would allow me to set up a Google My Business. So the how-to in terms of if you haven't claimed your profile. The first thing it will ask you to do is confirm how you wish to verify that this is your business, because it wouldn't work if I was able just to click Manage Now and then suddenly I owned the railway bar's profile. So you shouldn't be able to do that. So the best way to do this is via post. Although sometimes if it's a very well established business, they might allow you to verify it by phone, in which case they would ring you and give you a code that you have to submit. So normally most people are asked to verify by post. So you put in your address and they post you out a little card in which you need to input the code in that to verify your account. Again, if you have any issues with getting to this stage, let us know in Newry BID and we'll help talk you through this process. So if you haven't claimed your profile at this stage and you need to wait on that code, we let you go now, and you can jump back onto this training at a later date when that code comes through, or you can listen on and then do this whenever the code comes through. So once you've claimed your profile and verified the code, you can start to edit your listing. So the most important thing to do is to check if the information currently shown is correct. You wouldn't believe some of the inaccuracies that you can see on people's Google My Business profiles. There's inaccurate location photos, incorrect opening hours in light of COVID-19 restrictions, particularly now if you are in the hospitality sector and you're closing at 11. Maybe you want to put something on there about when your last order times are, etc., etc. And business profiles which contain maybe old branding, amongst other things, are some of the key things that you find. So now the issue with inaccurate location photographs, and I find this for some of my clients as well, is that Google posts their own photographs on there from their Google Street View as well, and sometimes if it's one of their own photographs, it's much more difficult to actually get rid of it. And I have one client in particular where we've now submitted a request to have a photograph removed about 4 times and it still hasn't been done. But you need to just keep on that and keep on that to try and get that removed, to make sure that your profile is correct and up to date. Because this is a really, really easy way for your business to look sharp and appealing to Google so that customers can find you. So I believe it's absolutely worth giving it a little bit of time to get that right. So now if this works, I'm going to try and switch on to the BID, Google My Business profile, so that I can talk you through in real time how to do some of these things. So let me just try and stop this share, and I'm going to do a new screen share for you. Okay, so once you get signed into your Google My Business profile, you will see a dashboard similar to this, and we'll talk about a bit more about what you can do with this dashboard and some of the performance and the insights, etc., in the next webinar, which is just, I suppose, a step up from beginner in terms of looking at more intermediate uses of it. But the key thing for us is looking at the likes of our info here and making sure that all of your information is up to date. So have you got a photograph? Have you got the right name in there? Do you have the right category? Do you have additional categories that you can put in there? Are your opening hours correct? Do you have special hours? Do you want to add in there that, during COVID-19 restrictions, you will be closing at 11 p.m., etc., etc.? Do you have your website in there? You can also add a short name in there, which is like, you can put maybe at Newry BID. And what you can do then is if you find that you're regularly trying to give customers a description or details of how to get to your premises, you can just copy that, because that actually becomes a URL. So you can copy that URL and just send it email or text or WhatsApp it across to them, and that will take them straight to this Google My Business profile, and they can find you on the map, on the satellite, and find all of your information. So it's quite a wee handy tool if your business that is a bit more difficult to find. So it's really, really easy to edit this. So add service area. So in this respect, I might add to this. So I'm going to add Newry, and maybe put Newry Morning Down in there, and I click apply. And you see in there, it's just changed to service areas, Newry Morning Down. So it's really, really easy, but it's important to go through that detail and make sure that all of this is correct on here. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about it in the next webinar on this, about how to add products and additional things like that. But for the purposes of now, if you can get that basic information correct on your Google My Business profile, you will be further on than you previously were. I would strongly encourage you to add photographs, and this allows you to go in. You can save those photographs then onto your dashboard here. You can upload them and save them, and you can add a cover photo, a logo, and then a location photo of where you actually are. What I always say to people is, when you get the hang of this, is treat your Google My Business like you treat your social media. So, okay, I correct that slightly differently, because your social media is probably more consistent information. But if you've got photographs of your team, if you've got photographs of products, if you've got photographs of people, if you've got photographs of your building, absolutely look at putting them on Google My Business, because you'll see from the insights, which we'll talk a bit more about, you will be able to see how customers search for your business, and where they've viewed your business, and customer actions out of that, direction requests, phone calls, and then photo views, which is very interesting as well. And what we find is, whenever you put a new photograph up, the chances are you get quite a few more views on there as well. So really, the whole point of this is, by having a really, an up-to-date, fresh Google My Business profile, you can really help to improve your rankings on Google. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a steer as to what you can do, how you access Google My Business, and then what you can do, the basics of getting it up to date. So just going to go back onto the presentation. So one other thing that you can do at this stage is to download the Google My Business app on your iPhone or your Android app store, because, as I sort of mentioned earlier, then this allows you to treat your listing a bit more like your social media, where you give it the time and the attention that it really deserves to make it work better for you. So if you have that in your pocket access to it, and you're using it regularly, you can start to see the benefits of it. And in the intermediate version, we'll talk about how you use those insights, etc., to better form how your customers are using Google to find your search. And I suppose, one point that I make as well is, people say, well, why would I use Google My Business over over Facebook or over LinkedIn or somewhere where I've built up a really good profile? Well, if you think of Google having more than 90% of the search engine market share. So basically, more than 90% of people who use search engines regularly use Google. So why would Google not want to promote their own products over other business products? So that's why I always think that Google My Business and having a really sharp profile is going to serve you even much better than being up to date on social media. It's all important, and it's important to try and keep everything up to date, but that's very difficult to do, especially in the evolving situation that we find ourselves in the minute. But I would strongly encourage you to give some time and effort to Google My Business. And when you're confident that you have your profile up and running, please do watch the next stage, the intermediate to advanced settings, where we'll take you through everything from understanding those analytics that I had quickly flicked on to responding to reviews and adding some 360 degrees photographs of your premises. So thank you very much. I hope that was useful. As I said, I'm delighted to deliver this for Newry BID. If you have any questions or you need any help in getting that to this stage, please do not hesitate to contact the Newry BID office and we will try to help you out. Thank you very much. Bye.